What's poppin', y'all? As I'm recording this, it is October 30th or 31st, and the timeline won't add up, but Drake dropped his album October 6th. And I waited 19 days to finally listen to it. Now, this is the biggest artist, the biggest rapper in the game, arguably the biggest, one of the biggest artists in the world. Now, let's see. He's not doing no worldwide stadiums, all right? He's not The Weeknd. All the Drake fans out there. But I waited quite a while to listen to this track. A lot of albums lately I just haven't been checking out because it's not pressing to check it out. But there are several reasons why I did this. Number one, I wasn't really anticipating a new Drake album. There's kind of this level of satiation that I've had with a ton of artists and rappers in general. I just don't need new music from them. Does that mean I don't want it? To a degree. But does that mean that I think they fell off or their best years are behind them? No. But it's that they've dropped such good music and in such ample amounts that it's enough for me for the rest of my life. Some artists like that are J. Cole, Kanye West, although I'll always listen to New Ye immediately. Jay-Z, Lil Uzi Vert, who else that I can think of off the top of my head? A$AP Rocky, a bunch of these artists that if they just never dropped again, I'm good. Like, they just drop so much good stuff. So that's one of the reasons. So I'm not really like too excited to listen to it. Her Loss was really good. I'm pretty sure that was the last album here. And before that, it was that dance album. Honestly, never mind. So I waited to listen to it. A bunch of people had their own thoughts on the album. I've really tried to avoid what people were talking about, but it's nearly impossible to do. So eventually, when I was on a flight, I found the time to listen to the album. And man, this is a very odd album. Number one, I felt like the tracks that I liked, or the sequence of tracks that I liked, wasn't even what I was supposed to like. Like the first 6-7 songs, I was like, okay. I mean, First Person Shooter with J. Cole, obviously, that's an amazing song. It's one of the best songs on the album. I can see why it's performing the best. Not only does it have a really big feature, but it's a really, really good song and a really good collaboration between them. It's been a long time since we've seen Drake and Cole on something. It just reminded me back to Friday Night Lights era for some reason. I know that they've probably collaborated since then, but if they haven't, that would be crazy. Like other songs like Callin' For You, I'm kind of fed up with 21 Savage on Drake tracks. It's not that they're bad together. It's just like, hey man, we're about to overdose here, okay? We've gotten way too much of you guys. Like, chill out, reconvene, and we'll see y'all later. The Virginia Beach track, that was okay, but like a lot of the first 7 tracks are just to me. The Yeet track, I think that was overhyped like crazy. Now, this was originally a Yeet song, which to me is like, yo, Drake, you need to have, not you need, but Yeet is giving you tracks that you're hopping on. That's not the Drake that we know. And even for a Yeet track, I think this is mid, and I like Yeet's music. So I just didn't get why this performed so well. I don't think it's a bad song, but it's just nothing special. Like when you hear, like for example, Look Alive, that is a Block Boy JB type song, but Drake hopped on that and he made that song his. Now with this song, it doesn't feel like this is Drake's song, and as blasphemous as it is, there are some people that are saying Yeet carried on this song, which it makes sense to say that Yeet carried because this was originally Yeet's song. This is Yeet's sound, and Drake is like trying to conform to it as opposed to Drake either cultivating something off of it or having Yeet try to hop onto something that he has a vision for. And I think we're seeing an era of Drake where there's a lot of experimentation, which I think is great for an artist, but it really hurts your perception. And this is something that my whole theory was that Kendrick Lamar struggled with, so he started working with like Baby Keem more and messing around. But I tweeted out, you should follow me at the Mind of HY, something along the lines of the second half of the Drake album is like incredible. Now, I don't mean second half like the entire thing, but from tracks about 8, right, from like 7-9, 6-9 Santana to 8 a.m. in Charlotte, that 9-track run, if that was the project in and of itself, I would be like, man, this is a great album. 9 tracks. I love all of these songs. Now, they're not like any slappers in that span. There's no hits, but it's like that smooth Drake that we kind of know, but there is like an element of experimentation there. There's still updates that we're getting about Drake and his life and what's going on. I didn't think Slime You Out was great as a song or a single or a quote unquote like an attempt at a hit, but it fits well in those 9 tracks. And I was honestly getting bored by the time I got to the 8th track. I was like, man, like after the Yeet one, I was like, yo, am I really going to continue listening to this? This is like 20 tracks. But those helped me just like have some hope for the album. I was like, okay, this is going somewhere. But then after that, when you've got like BBL Love, you've got the song with Bad Bunny, which was just, I just don't even know what he was doing there. That's something that I would have wanted to do with Yeet. Like, he basically gave, I can't imagine what was going through Bad Bunny's head when he got the song sent to him, because it just doesn't sound like he belongs on there or is supposed to be on there. It just doesn't sound good. Then Rich Baby Daddy, that song is like, it's a decent song, but it's like, why do you have Sexy Red on a song? I mean, it's just, I think it would have done more damage in a positive way for him to hop on a Sexy Red song as opposed to having her on his album. But either way, I just don't think she belongs with Drake at all. It just doesn't go together. Another Late Night with Lil Yachty. Oh, man. I think I only listened to this song like twice. I didn't really care too much for it. He finally got the Yachty finally got the Drake song, and they got a music video for it. I'm not going to give my opinion on Yachty too much, but he's a great example of a rapper that got so far and sucked. Like, so much of his stuff just sucks. Yeah, like the last two tracks, they're like, all right. But overall, this album, I don't think, like, fans of Drake, they're like, nah, y'all gotta wait. Everyone was hating on it. They're going to catch on. But just the sensitivity that Drake has displayed when other people have talked about this album is a testament to, I think, how he feels about it. And also, I think it gives credence to my estimate that he's experimenting a lot more. Because the guy's made so much money off of music as a whole. And he signed a deal that he needed to drop, I think, 5 or 6 more albums. I don't know. They were saying a $500 million deal. I don't know the exact numbers. But since then, he's dropped 3 albums. He's dropping a lot, very frequently. So he's dropped 3 albums already, and I think he's just fed up of trying to do the same thing. And this is also circling back to one of the criticisms that people had of Drake, which is a criticism that I've had of him, which is everything Drake, to a degree, sounds safe. I wouldn't say the same, but it sounds like he's in his comfort zone. Like, if you just go back to Thank Me Later, right? Or even So Far Gone, and then you listen to a track off of, I wouldn't even say Her Loss, but let's say Views, or what was the album that he dropped before Honestly Nevermind? You hear like the same, you could be like, okay, this is the same artist. Whereas for Ye, you're hearing College Dropout, and then you're listening to Donda, and you're like, whoa, this is like completely different people. And then you listen to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and you listen to Yeezus, and you're like, whoa, this could be completely different artists if he just didn't have the same voice. And that was a criticism of Drake, is I would say, like, not necessarily lack of versatility, but his inability, or the fact that he didn't want to like widen his horizons. And I think that's something he's been trying to do for the past several years. He definitely went off the deep end with that Honestly Nevermind album, which is why I thought to a degree it was positive that he tried something that bold and that far away from what he's used to doing, even though it didn't really stick and hit like that. But maybe he's just not meant for that. And perhaps he's just solidified himself for too long that he can't experiment much. Kind of like what Kendrick Lamar did. Although Kendrick Lamar, like, he's constantly morphing, but still generally the same Kendrick Lamar. Now, when it comes to Ye, he, between, like, let's say College Dropout and Late Registration, those are relatively similar. But even in Graduations, things started to take some tweaks. And that's maybe a couple of years into his career, like 4 or so years. And then he starts hitting pivots. And the people have come to expect that from him and are more tolerable to when Ye experiments with something, as opposed to Drake, where they've solidified, like, hey, it's been 14 plus years or 15 years. We know you as this. How dare you try to get out of your lane? And that's something he's going to have to deal with. So I think this is just a learning experience for him. There's nothing that can damage Drake's legacy at this point. Granted, there was the ghostwriting stuff, or writing stuff. But as a whole, he's just dropped so much good music that I think it's great that we see him continue to experiment. And that's one positive thing that I liked about this album. Like, he's willing to try and put stuff out there. And I think it's kind of endearing to see him react so sensitively, because that's how a new artist would react that just blew up. And they're like trying to put out an album. People are like, man, this sucks. And then he's upset with it. He's like, man, why do people not like my stuff? Like, I put so much work into this. I was like trying something new. And the fact that he has that now, it's kind of like this new, fresh look he has on music. Because I don't know how some artists be doing music for so long, or doing the same thing for so long, and still have like this youthful, like, exuberance about it. I'm somewhat envious of it. I'm like, wow, I wish I could do something for 15 plus years and be like, yo, this is amazing. I can't wait to do this again today. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.